studio, dear friends. Today, together we will make a sketch about the trees. And this time you can see the photo what I'm gonna use for reference right on the screen. I just tape my sketchbook. By the way, about the photo was made on my workshop in Australia, and the group was just incredible. And like usual, I'm gonna use my Eka palette. And by the way, the good news, we finished to work on the prototype. This is the prototype, number 6 by the way, and we start to produce it, and it will be available in few weeks, and I hope you can order the same without problem, and we still can deliver it around the world. You can see the picture is very simple, so it's not necessary to make the sketch by pencil. But this time I will do that, because in that case it will be more easy to understand what I'm doing. So for sketching we just need the ground level. We have a nice lake and the tree. So today the demo exactly about the trees, because the few people ask me how to make the trees by the simple way, exactly like you see for instance on the front of my sketchbook right here. So I will show you the way, and my first step will be I'm use my Chinese calligraphy brush to make the background. We're gonna make it by 3 steps. The step number 1, just the background, like I say. I use mostly the Cobalt and just a little bit Indigo for the top. And like I say, I'm just preparing the background now, and I'm using mix between Phtalo green color and the Quinacridone Sienna together. And another one mix Quinacridone deep gold color and Phtalo green. You see that give me a very nice bright green color, exactly like we see it on the photo. And I have to say the few more words about the sketchbook. You know, that sketchbook, exactly what I'm using here, made special for me, you see. So I created that sketchbook with one company, and we choose after all my trying, we choose the very nice, good quality Chinese watercolor paper, 300 grams, 100% cotton paper. And you know what happens? That's why I'm using that sketchbook, because the quality of the paper give me a lot of time. It's not drying fast, so I can play with my subject. slowly and enjoy the process. Normally the sketchbook have a not nice paper like that. That means it's drying very fast and I couldn't play with my pigments and my colors, and I have a time limitation. That's why we create this, and by the way, it was made just 300 copies, and that's it. 50 of them I keep for myself and others still available. So all my students use the same sketchbook because, like I say, you can see it's not drying and the quality is very nice, and I have a lot of time to play with my pigments. And for me it's very important to enjoy the process. I don't like the stressful way of painting. I like to enjoy that. So we're preparing the background, and honestly I can do a little bit more because it's still wet. You can see that it's not drying. I can play with the pigments, so we can try to build the shape of the trees a little bit better, and maybe add some dark reflection right now. We're gonna play with that later for sure, but maybe just a little bit, like a preparing space. Okay, and I'll make the tranche here right now for the tree. It's so visible. I want to keep it bright like this. This is wash out on the wet paper. Very simple technique, but that technique gives you a chance to make something nice and shiny. Okay, now I have to force, unfortunately, my sketch to make it dry fast, and I'm gonna use the hair dryer for that because we have a time limitation. Remember, we still have to be able to fit in the 15 minutes. Okay, let's make it dry very fast. And now we will start to create the trees itself. And that's like a game. From one side we use a dry brush, and I will show you the technical trick how to do that. Like for instance, we use the same mix. You see it's a Phtalo green color and Quinacridone Sienna by the Daniel Smith. So you see I make the shape here, and look at my brush. I can do that with this brush. That's why that brush I'm using a lot, especially in the studio. So you see, because the brush holds the shape, and the trees we can do it just the brush make it itself. You see, it's very nice details just coming like that. So it's not my job, honestly. The brush would make it for me. If I need to make something darker, I just add the Indigo inside. So let's say that will be my dark mix. You see, and again, the paper give me a chance to use the dry brush and the wet mixing together. Because like I say, it's not drying fast. So I can do that just like this without problem. And let's talk about that big tree. So I keep my dark mix here, take something a little bit more lighter. That means I'm using more Quinacridone deep gold color here for the tree in the light. You see, just a soft touching like this. And my brush with one touch make a lot of details. So it's a great solution. And because we already have a background, we make like a second layer and more detail it. You see, it's simple to do. And we can touch it with a dark mix again. This here I'm use the like a negative space to build the shape of the lights on the trees here. So I'll make something behind, and I'm gonna make it dark. And soft blending. A little bit more touching again. You see, because of the brush and the technique what we're gonna use, it's look like a very complicated picture, but it's not. It's very simple to do. And I'm gonna paint around the tranche here. We have a more. We can do it if you want, just like this. No problem, but it's not necessary for my feeling. We just make a little bit. And blend it again. Okay, we go into the more darker space there. I mean just a little bit more indigo. So idea to use that technique and keep the shape of the brush like that, and we use a lot of the negative space to create that. And the rules is, from one side we're gonna use the soft blending, from the second side the strong shapes. Together that combination works perfectly. I don't have to paint everywhere, just a few touching, and after that your imagination starting to create the shapes, not me. And we have a very dark shape there, I like it, so let's do it. We have a very nice reflection there on the water, so I want to do that too. And I like the dark shadows here, so I just make the dry brush strikes to explain that. And in the end, if you still feel what you have to add more details, the best solution is to use the rod brush like this For me it's the best liner what you can find on the planet to make the details, because it's very sharp. You can see we can make the lines simple just like that, and again it's the details what we create make some shapes more understandable. It's just a question of the soft touching life. And the last what I want to do there, maybe just a little bit more darker touching here, because for my feeling we miss the contrast. So I just add some dark touching. Okay, like you see, we create the look like a complicated picture, but honestly it's very simple to do. Now you know that's because of my brush, because of these. You see, the brush is a combination between two different hairs. That's the wolf inside and the goat outside. This brush, by the way, like my favorite liner. All of them available on my website watercoloronline.com. So if you want to try the same thing, you can buy it without problem. And again, this is very important for my opinion. It's very important to use the right paper, because if you ask me to create something like that on the cheap paper, not cotton paper, I couldn't do that. So if you want to produce something nice in watercolor, you need the high quality materials. For my opinion, it's like if you want to cook something good, you need the best ingredients. For watercolor, that's the same. So this is our landscape with the trees, and you already see the photo on the screen. You can use it for your reference if you want to practice with the same subject, or you can find any different picture, doesn't matter. And all the materials what I'm used you can find on my website, like I say. Good luck with the practice, and be safe.